Okay. The difference may come from the type of single mothers, because in Malaysia, premarital birth is not socially and religiously acceptable, though its occurrence is undeniable. Yeah, but we are not going to talk about that in this study. Therefore, single motherhood is mostly the result of the death of a husband, divorce, and permanent separation. And okay, so you can see that the number of divorce among Muslim and non-Muslim, because in Malaysia we always have these two categories. Even the legal system is divided into two for the non-Muslim and the Sharia court for Muslim to deal with the divorce custody issues. Okay, so as you can see here, the divorce rate among Muslim, this data is from March 2020 to August 2021. Yeah, it is a set scenario actually. This is based on every state in Malaysia, excluding Sabah and Sarawak. Yeah. So official data from Malaysia Housing and Population Census in 2010 showed that there were a total of 831,860 women, or approximately 2.5% of our women were either widowed, divorced, or permanently separated. Unfortunately, we don't have the most recent data. Yeah. And labor force participation rate in Malaysia in 2020 by marital status show that 49.1% of widows and 76.9% of divorced and permanently separated women are in the labor force. Because our official data, they haven't separated divorced and permanently separated into two categories. So they put these two categories into one category. So we don't really know how many divorced women in labor force and how many of them are permanently separated. Yeah. So the considerable difference in labor force participation rate could be attributed to pension payment or payout received by widows. Yeah. Based on the employment of their departed husband. So some of them can get pension because their departed husband probably work in public sectors, yeah, or some of them work in private sectors, but they could get some money, yeah, after the death of the husband. However, divorced women, on the other hand, may or may not receive alimony, yeah, or child support from their former husband. Okay. So apart from getting employment, could be getting public assistance, repartnering, or remarriage, because in Malaysia, we do not accept cohabitant yet. Yeah. So it's always about marriage. Yeah. However, in less developed countries, public assistance systems are limited and less structured. Yeah, I don't know how it is in Indonesia. Hopefully, it's much better than us. Yeah, because we are still struggling to get public assistance. There are so many procedures that they have to follow, and the amount is not that much as well. Yeah. So single motherhood and poverty is an association that has been well documented in literature. Yeah, many single mothers are poor, because now my study focusing on the bottom for 40% of the society. Yeah. So single mothers have been consistently shown to experience financial vulnerability in comparison to the general republic, general population, general public. Therefore, the incidence of poverty is more pronounced among single mother household. Yeah. So in this paper, we would explore the nature of employment among low-income single mothers in Peninsular Malaysia only. We have to exclude Sabah and Sarawak, because it's too far away to travel and we don't have enough funding for that. So the vulnerability of jobs among women has been thoroughly discussed by the International Labour Association. And sadly, they stated that there will be little improvement forecast in the near future. Okay. So as I mentioned just now, the economic stature of Malaysians is divided into 3 major groups. So we have this B40 or the bottom 40, we have the middle 40%, and we have the top 20%. So you can have a look at their median income. So income range is less than 2,500 ringgit. This is in ringgit. This is B1. Previously, we only have this big category B40, M40, and 220. But then it doesn't seem right because the range is too wide. So now we have these 4 categories instead. For the B40, we have 4 categories. M40, we also have 4 categories. And for T20, we have the only 2 categories. But if you convert these numbers, this figure into let's say US dollar, so it will be very small actually. So if you can see here, the poverty line income for household is fixed at 2,208 ringgit per month. So approximately it is about 526 USD only. And the minimum wage is fixed at 1,000 ringgit to 1,100 ringgit. Basically, it's about 240 USD to 260 USD only, based on the locality of the employee. So I just use roughly the exchange rate to $1 equal to 4 ringgit 20 cents. Okay. So for the data and methodology, before that, I just have to mention that for divorced women, research has shown that divorced women are usually financially worse off after marital breakups due to loss of income from spouse, due to children staying with the mothers, and also due to limited wealth accumulated during the marriage. Okay. So and also in Malaysia, it is normal, for many women to prefer to leave their jobs, to care for the children and to care for the home. If they have the liberty to choose, they would be happy to stay at home and look after the children and the house. So, however, a lower number of women in the workforce have been a concern for policymakers, because we want more women to be in the labor force, to contribute to the development of our country and our economy. In Malaysia also, I think the same thing in Indonesia, because the similar opportunity is given to children, regardless of whether they are a male or a female. Okay. But some literature has stated that having jobs do not necessarily help to increase income and material well-being for single mothers when they may be working in precarious environment. So what is precarious environment? This kind of environment is saddled with low-earning jobs in the lowest hierarchy. And also, going for jobs or to go to work also involve transportation costs, clothing costs, and loss of time with children. So many women, they have to struggle between all these things, okay, because there are extra costs, to go to work. And also, now we can go to this data and methodology part. So this study only present a part of a bigger research actually. So we focus only on the descriptive data on employment, for single mothers in Peninsular Malaysia. So we use purposive sampling method to choose the participant, and also we use the snowballing technique because it is not easy to find the respondent, because these single mothers, they have some stigma, so they do not really want to be identified. So we have to go through Single Mother Association, Women Office, yeah, and also from when I see about snowballing technique, say we identify one single mother and she will introduce us to another single mother. Yeah, so it is not as easy as random sampling. Okay. So the inclusion criteria, we have these widows and divorcees only living in Peninsular Malaysia and also a citizen. And the age is between 18 to 60 years old because we want to see the employment characteristic of these women. And we only consider single mother who have valid marriage status, so evidence by the death certificate or a divorce certificate. Yeah, we don't go to those without these two certificates. So actually we have collected data from 110 respondents, but we have to drop 14 of them because they did not fulfill all the inclusion criteria. So in the end, we only have 96 respondents. Yeah. So we are neighbors, yeah. Most of us from Indonesia and Malaysia. So my respondent come only from Peninsular Malaysia. So we exclude Sabah and Sarawak. Okay, here is Indonesia and here Indonesia, and we have Thailand and Vietnam, yeah, on top, and Singapore at the bottom. So this table shows that the duration of the age, the average age and the duration of single motherhood, yeah, for our respondent. So the duration of single motherhood from the whole sample is 6.5 years. For divorced mothers, it is 6 years, and for widowed mothers, 8 years. So for the widowed mothers, it is a bit longer. And you can see the age is between, the average is 43 years old. Yeah, and yeah, it's not really significantly different between these two groups. So types of employment sector, yeah. So we could see that the type of employment of the respondent based on sectors, those who have jobs in formal sectors were relatively better off. So we have here the formal sectors. So they are quite better off compared to the informal and unemployed sector. Yeah. Even though some of them work as a cleaners, yeah, as cleaners with cleaning companies, the pay actually were relatively low, but it is stable. They can get money at the end of every month. Yeah. And we could see that single mothers with higher education attainment had better jobs and much better pay. Yeah. So actually from these respondents, only 4 of them are public sector employees. Yeah, because in Malaysia, we really like to work in public sectors, but of course now the size is shrinking. So in this public sector category, we have a nurse, a lab assistant, an account clerk, and an accountant assistant. So they have better skills. Yeah. So if we look at this table, okay, it shows that more than half of the respondents were working in the informal sector. Yeah. By either doing part-time jobs or self-employed. Yeah, so this kind of precarious employment status adds to the vulnerability of income for the single mothers. Yeah, there is no employment contract and little access to social protection. Yeah, particularly in regards to pension and other benefits enjoyed by the public sector employees. Yeah. Many of them have petty businesses such as selling food, yeah, making traditional cakes, yeah, kueh muih, and frozen pastries. And others involved in informal childcare at home. So they stay at home, they look after the children's children, the neighbors' children, and the pay will be quite low, yeah, actually. So some of them working in food stall or food outlet, they would get between 15 ringgit, about $3.60 US dollar only, to 50 ringgit, yeah, on their working days. If they don't work, they have no money for that day. Okay. And we can look at the unemployed, yeah, category. We have 15 respondents who are unemployed. It's about 16% of them. Yeah. So for this category, a question is raised. Where did they get the money from when they were not employed? Yeah. So you can refer to this table, sources of income for unemployed single mothers. Yeah. So the reason, first we look at the reason. Most of the reasons are childcare. Yeah, they have to look after their children. Yeah, and some of them due to illnesses, so they are sick. Yeah, so they couldn't go to work. And where did they get the money from? They get from some money. They get some respondent. They get transfers from welfare department. So we have the welfare department here. So they give like 220 ringgit, yeah, 300 ringgit. So it's very very low actually. And also we have PUZ. Or the zakat office, yeah, they get zakat from the zakat office, and the amount is depends on the number of children that they have, yeah. And others, they have some transfer from neighbors who are very sympathetic with them, and they get some money or food or supply from the mosque, and also we have this R10. She get some money from adult children, okay, and we have some child support as well, but it's very very little actually. The amount is very very little. And also these three, they get social pension. Yeah, this one is for private sector employee. Yeah. And okay, education and income is closely related. So you could see that, okay, 54 of them, yeah, only have high school certificate. Yeah, here in Malaysia we call it Sijil Pelajaran Malaysia, SPM. Okay, this one reflects the characteristic of Malaysian workforce as well. So if, as you can see here, even some of them only finish primary school. Yeah, standard 6. So this study actually highlights, yeah, the burden faced by low-income single mothers. So as a sole breadwinners, they need to balance work and care responsibilities, and it is not easy. So many single mothers choose to work from home or close to home, yeah, despite the irregular pay and low pay, yeah, because of insufficient childcare, yeah. So it can be the greatest barrier because they have small children and they have many children. Actually, they usually have more than average children. For Malays, in Malaysia, we have on average 3 children, but they would have more, 4 or 5. Yeah, even one, I think they have like 11. Okay, 11 children. So low wage jobs coupled with their parenting responsibilities make it particularly hard for single mothers to pursue socio-economic success. So as a conclusion, we could see that both group of single mothers, divorcee and widows, they have more similarities than differences. Yeah, it is mostly due to low educational attainment. Okay, and coupled with caring responsibilities, the employment opportunities seem to be getting smaller, and the financial worries persist. Yeah, financial worries persist. So they always worry about money. And affects not only them but also their children as well. So way forward, continuing effort by policymakers and other stakeholders to increase their income for the sake of the children, because the main victim, the real victim in this situation, the poverty situation, is the children. Yeah. So identifying and quantifying a set of persistent socio-economic barriers that keep single mothers out of the workforce could help the policymaker. So we could see and we could say that single mothers in our study, they want to be in employment and they want to live a better life for themselves and also for their children. I think that's all. Thank you very much. We don't have much time here because I just have 20 minutes. Okay, so now I would, okay, stop share. Okay, I would have okay, I would have the first speaker, Fabrianto Simanjuta, from Center for Space and Remote Sensing Research. Is he here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. With the title, Depiction of Typhoon Mangkut 2018 and its Impact Based on Satellite Observation. Okay, please, the floor is yours.
All right. Okay, do you hear my voice clearly?
Yeah, we do.
Okay. Okay, hello everyone. My name is Febri and I'm from National Central University, Taiwan. So today I'd like to present my research about the depictions of Typhoon Mangkut in 2018 and its impact based on the satellite observations. So this panel show you the development of the Typhoon Mangkut. So it starts from the tropical depression form on September 6th, and it finally reached its category 5 of typhoon on September 11th with 205 kilometers per hour of wind speeds, and made landfall in Hong Kong on September 15th. And at the end, its dissipating phase is on September 17th. So the left figure showing here is the effects of the cyclonic and anticyclonic winds on the surface of the oceans in the northern hemispheres. So as the typhoons coincide with the cyclonic winds, so it usually induces the upwellings and also negative sea level anomaly, as the figure showing here. So I also want to figure out is this kind of theory is matched with my result. And on the right-hand side here shows the Saffir-Simpson scales, which categorize the typhoon based on its wind speed. So here shows the impact of the Typhoon Mangkut over Philippines, Hong Kong, and mainland China as the figure showing here. And it's typically a deadly typhoon. And here are the data. So I utilize several satellites observations data for the ocean surface wind data from ASCAT, Advanced Scattorometers, Chlorophyll A and SST from MODIS, the SST products from OISST, and also from AMSR2, GMI, and WindSat satellite observations. And for the ocean surface vector winds from CCMP, remote sensing systems, and surface height from the altimetry marine Copernicus, and also the in situ measurements such as temperature vertical profile from Argo flow data. So I also collected some meteorological data from 5 automatic weather stations in Hong Kong to see the influence of the typhoons over the land. And here, this is the flow chart of this research. So in general, I have several satellite observations and meteorological data along with temperature vertical profile to get the full analysis of the Typhoon Mangkut. So this is the results. So the effects of Typhoon Mangkut on the air temperatures and air pressure. So in short, those 5 stations are strongly decreased as the typhoon made landfall and hit Hong Kong on September 15. On the other hand, for the wind speed and rainfall in these 5 stations are strongly increased, as the figure showing here. And these animations belongs to the SST and SST coolings as the typhoon periods from September 6 to September 17, as the typhoon moved westward from 170 to 105 degrees east. I also noticed that there is a strong SST coolings up to -3 degrees Celsius within the typhoon category 5 here in the Pacific Oceans. And this figure shows the wind surface and directions at 00, 06, 12, and 18 UTC. So from the CCMP wind product, so we can clearly see the rotations of the typhoons here. And in addition, I also noticed that there is a cyclonic winds near the Taiwan area on September 7th. here in the form of cyclonic winds. So I was looking for the gradient wind analysis from Bureau of Meteorology, Australia, to make sure what I was looking is correct. So yeah, it can be clearly seen that there is a low pressure area in northeastern Taiwan on September 7th to 13th, and it becomes tropical storm Barbijan on September 11th with 35 knot of maximum wind speed here. So which means that the wind speed and directions generated from the CCMP wind product is reliable enough to show the results in this case. And this animation shows the sea surface height data during the typhoon period. So in general, negative mean sea level anomaly was observed during the typhoon. So this is also in line with the theory that I was mentioned in the beginning of this presentation, is that the cyclonic winds, which is represented by the typhoons, is usually induce the negative sea level anomaly. And this panel shows the SST and chlorophyll A result before, during, and after the typhoon. So in general, the high SST is observed in the eastern coast of Hong Kong, here about 28 to 29 degrees Celsius. And during and after the typhoons, both have a strong decrease of SST up to 25 to 26 degrees Celsius. And on the other hand, before the typhoon, we observe low chlorophyll A concentrations and high chlorophyll A concentrations after and during the typhoons. So this is the statistical result. So we can see for the chlorophyll A, there is a increment of chlorophyll A concentration about 2 milligram per cubic meters, and a decrement of sea surface temperatures about 2 degrees Celsius in the eastern coastal area of Hong Kong. And I also tried to figure out what was happening with under the sea. So belongs to the vertical structure of the oceans by extracting the temperature vertical profile from the Argo flow data. So this panel shows the temperature vertical profile before, during, and then before and after. So we can see the difference between before and during the typhoon is not really big compared to the before and after the typhoon. So here I extract the data near the Philippine coastal area in the Pacific Ocean. And here I also noticed that the typhoon magnitude depresses the thermocline layers, which indicates the upwelling here. So the red line shows the before, and the blue line shows the after the typhoon. So there is a narrowing of thermocline layers, which indicates the upwelling events. And it's also supported by the positive chlorophyll A and negative sea surface temperatures anomaly in the
Doctor, you have like 1 more minute here.
Yes, ma'am. In the Philippine coastal area. So in conclusions, there is a significant increment of chlorophyll A up to 2.7 and a prominent decrease reached 2 degrees Celsius, and along with a narrower thermocline layers which induce the upwelling event. This is the reference. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you so much to Dr. Fabrianto.
Yes.
Okay, and we move to the next presenter. That would be RD. Sorry, I have the RD Salsa Devi Kusuma from Marine Science Study Program, Universitas Panjajaran, West Java, with the title Design and Development of Low-Cost Multi-Parameter Ocean Observation Instrument. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Dr. Zarina. as a moderator. Okay, first of all, my name is Radha Dewi Kusuma from Fisheries and Marine Science Faculty, Department of Marine Science, Universitas Pajajaran. The title for this session is Design and Development of Multi-Parameter Ocean Observation Instrument, and the study are involving Dr. Insinyur Iwan Gumilar from Fisheries and Marine Science Faculty, Department of Fisheries Universitas Pajajaran, Mr. Noer Primadona Purba from Fisheries and Marine Science Faculty, Department of Marine Science, Universitas Pajajaran, and last, Mr. Ibnu Faizal from Fisheries and Marine Science Faculty, Department of Marine Science, Universitas Pajajaran. Can you next? Okay, to begin the presentation, as we all know that Indonesian water is one of the most unique and complex water in the world because of several phenomena such as a monsoon, constellation of island, regional climatology, and very diverse water topography. Also, Indonesia is flanked by the Pacific Ocean and Indian Ocean. Therefore, this can affect the composition and characteristic of water masses in Indonesia to be more complex. With the complex and unique characteristic of Indonesia's water masses, it requires continuous and real-time quality oceanographic data so that monitoring and analysis can be carried out in the event of change in oceanographic condition. But to do the measurement by direct survey takes time, effort, and expensive cost. So that the tool that will be designed later can be solution to the problem by being able to measure the three parameters in one housing with a low cost. Next. Okay, for the research objective, the first one is to develop a simple design of marine observation instrument with an integrated microcontroller system and develop multi-parameter which include temperature, salinity, and pH measurement system. Next. The method used in this study is quantitative experimental method, which include experimental design, laboratory tests to produce the system and instrument needed. In addition, the descriptive statistical analysis method were also carried out to determine the level of accuracy of calculation by instrument. Next. In the study, the instrument consists of 6 main components. There are sensor as measuring instrument, Arduino Uno as microcontroller, battery as power source, pump as sample water withdrawal, LCD to display data, and micro SD card module as data logger. And the working system of this instrument is we have to first we have to activate the microcontroller via the switch button, then activate pump so that the sample water can enter the instrument. If the water volume has reached the desired volume, the leak sensor will be active so that the water pump will be stopped. When the leak is active, the sensor can read the data and then process it by microcontroller. The data has been processed, will be displayed on the LCD screen, and at the same time, the data will be automatically saved to the data logger every 1 minute. Next. For to get valid measurement result, it is necessary to test the data validation by calibrating the sensor to be used, then comparing the data obtained with the data from measurement by other instruments for each parameter. In addition, statistical methods are also carried out to see the accuracy of the data. The method is to calculate the average, standard deviation, error, accuracy, and standard error. The success of this instrument is if the measured data result have an error value of more or less 5% and accuracy value of more than 95%. Next. For this is a design of instrument. The instrument will be using the box material is 5 mm acrylic and consists of 2 parts. There is a top and a bottom. For dimension is 24 by 12 by 20 cm, and both boxes are designed to be plug-inable using the lock hook. Next. The top box contain the electrical component, and the bottom box contain the water pump, hose, and water inlet to be measured by sensor. The lower box and the upper box are designed to be waterproof to minimize the leaks that can damage electronic component. And the LCD is placed on the wall of the front-facing inner box to display the measurement result from the sensor. Next. On the lid of the box, there are 2 power buttons used to turn on the microcontroller and the other one to turn on the pump. And there is also a handle to make it easier when the instrument can carry it. Next. For the schematic can be seen in the figure. The three sensor, LCD display, and micro SD card module are connected directly to microcontroller, while the pump is connected to the battery as a power source. Next. For the result and discussion, next. The design realization, the instrument that was made was in accordance with the plan and design that had been previously designed, which using a clear acrylic-based material of 5 millimeter thick, total dimension of 24 by 12 by 20 centimeter, consisting of two main parts, and the bottom box can hold up to approximately 1.1 liters of water. On specification can perform calculation of three parameters, namely parameter, temperature, pH, and salinity. Next. This is a graph of the relation between the output voltage with the value of salinity and pH. The graphic shows that the greater salinity and pH are read, are smaller the output of voltage will be. In reverse, the smaller the value of salinity and pH, the greater value of the output voltage. Next. This is the first test graph of the three parameter. It is seen that on the graph, the measurement results are still very much different from the comparison data. Therefore, need to do program that is accordance with the standard data. Next. The conclusion obtained from the first test is the pH get an accuracy rate of 61.1% and error of 39%. Salinity get an accuracy rate of 56.5% and error 43.5%, and temperature gets an accuracy rate of 99.5% and error of 0.45%. Next. For the second test graph, significant difference were seen, and the result approached the comparison data. Next. The conclusion obtained from the second test is the pH get an accuracy rate of 95.15% and an error of 4.85%. Salinity get an accuracy rate of 96.7% and error 3.3%. And temperature get an accuracy rate of 97.5% and error 2.45%. This is in accordance with the standard target. Next. Okay, this is a technology readiness level or TRL in the design of process following in the indicator of the TRL guideline. This instrument has gone through a process of testing sensor and other components separately to ensure all the components can work properly. Next. The system requirements for its application are known in accordance with the working system that had been described previously. The result of laboratorium experiment on component shows that component can work well as planned. In addition, laboratory scale technology prototype has been made by consisting all the components in the breadboard as a temporary housing. Next. Furthermore, technology system with integration and laboratory scale design are carried out by installing electrical components with their housing. Can you next? Based on the achievement of the indicator, this instrument will be reached level 4, where the process of designing and developing this instrument was only carried out on laboratory scale, so that it could not be continued to the next level. Next. For domestic component level or DCL, there is a limit or value that represent the level of domestic component in a product or service. It can be seen that the manufacturer of this instrument, the value of DCL content reached 78%, which has exceeded the limit of DCL value set by government, which is 40%. Based on the calculation result, in the table, the total production cost is 1,469,000. The cost is divided into the cost of purchasing for electrical component and housing.
Dewi Kasuma, you have like 1 minute more, yeah? One more minute.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and doesn't include the cost of tools or work facilities. When compared to the price and instrument with ability to measure the same parameter, this instrument is still relatively cheap because the price of a multi-sensor instrument with the same ability in the market is around 395,000 up to 4,600,000. Next. For the conclusion, the multi-parameter marine observation instrument with the pump system is made using acrylic-based material with a total dimension of 24 by 12 by 20 centimeter. This instrument consists of two main parts, namely the upper part, which is intended to store electrical component, and the lower part is intended to accommodate water samples, pump, and sensor probes. The temperature parameter accuracy can you see in the screen. And judging from the level of technological readiness, this instrument has reached TRL4, which is only a laboratory scale prototype. Domestic component in the design of its instrument also reached 78%, which means that the raw materials and equipment used in the design process dominated by domestic product. In addition, this instrument also costs less compared to the instrument on the market. Okay, maybe that's all for the presentation. Thank you so much. I'll return to the moderator.
Thank you, Dr. Kusuma. So we move to the next presenter, Dr. Alfina Yabalanti from Marine Science Department, Universitas Panjajaran. With the title Patterns, Type, and Distributions of Microplastic Debris Based on Oceanographic Conditions and Community Perspective. Case studies in Muara Gembong, downstream of Citarum. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Zarina, for the moderator today. Okay, yeah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alfina Yabalanti from Universitas Pajajaran, and as the title mentioned previously, with the authors Alfina Yabalanti, Zuziana, Noir Primadona Purba, and Ibnu Faizal. Next. So for the background for this research, about 8 million tons of plastic debris end up into ocean every year. Indonesia is one of the countries that is trying to solve the problem of marine debris through National Action Plan. All we know that marine debris affects many sectors such as the environment and socio-economic. Next. So these are the photos that show us the plastic problem in Muara Gembong. The left one tells us the fishers struggling with plastic waste. You could see those red arrows. And the right one about marine debris condition near the estuary. Local people believe Cikarang Bekasi Laut River or CBL and Jakarta Bay as big contributors for debris in Muara Gembong rather than Citarum River. So is that the actual fact, CBL and Jakarta as big contributors? Who knows? That's why we should research further, isn't it? Next. So for the research purposes, the first one is knowing the distribution point and type of microplastic debris, knowing the oceanographic factors in Muara Gembong, and the last one, knowing the comparison of local people's perception and oceanographic factors about microplastic debris in Muara Gembong. Next. So, the research is going in two important periods, April and August, September 2021, taking Muara Gembong in West Java near Jakarta Bay, Indonesia as pilot research site. Last April, I did the focus group discussion with coastal local community, also marking the debris hotspot near the coast of Muara Bendera in the north side and Muara Jaya in the south side. With the GPS tool through water route as the yellow line, as you can see. So the yellow line is the main river of Citarum and the land route as the green line as a tributary of Citarum. Either yellow and green are the Citarum River. And for August, September, I did the interview data. Next. So for the data used in this research are oceanography and debris data. The first one is oceanography data that has parameters such as wind, current, and tidal. And the analysis is specified per monsoon as this WMS, TS1, EMS, and TS2. The specifically method for debris data such as FGD, hotspot sampling, and interview with accidental sampling by online. Next. Result of oceanography. Next. So the first one is WMS. In WMS, the dominant current comes from the west into east and southeast with the dominant current velocity around blue and green current. You could see the details of velocity right below. The winds are more dominant, blowing from the southwest and west. Next. In TS1, the current and wind in March dominant move from west because it's still affected by WMS. Besides April and May, as the beginning of EMS, current and wind coming from east. Next. On EMS, the dominant oceanographic factors come from the east. So the EMS as the opposite of WMS. The transfer of marine debris transport is minimal than WMS because the current and wind move to the east, so it moves to outside of Muara Gembong area. Next. On TS2, the dominant oceanographic direction is from east to west. So the TS2 is similar with EMS. Next. The tidal in Muara Gembong area are dominated by diurnal tides with a combination of one tide and one ebb per day. Sometimes the tidal phenomena like supermoon or the rock flood happen at midnight that can approach the local resident. And as this example graphics show, the highest and lowest in the middle of the month. Next. And based on the right figure, we know that WMS and early of TS1, which is December until March, has current and wind that moves from west into Muara Gembong area. As you could see, Muara Bendera, Muara CBL, and Jakarta Bay as our concern in this research. Debris come from Citarum will end up in Muara Bendera. So you can see the river near the Pantai Bahagia will end up in Muara Bendera as the estuary. And cause the effect of oceanography, debris will distribute into Muara Beting into north and Muara Mati into the south area. Furthermore, the debris are coming from Jakarta Bay and CBL below, will move into Muara Jaya, Muara Kuntul, even Muara Beting caused by oceanographic factors. Next. Next. So here is the Microdermis Hotspot taken from many methods, waters, land, and locals. As you could see on this slide, area along the coast of Muara Gembong, like Muara Mati, Muara Jaya, etc., has much debris trapped on mangrove. This is due to the current and wind bringing debris into coastal area and continue by tidal into deep mangrove. Next. And here is the result of the interview section. Locals think that most of the marine debris in Muara Gembong comes from outside of sub-district. Regarding question, where do the plastic debris come from? 96 respondents answer for CBL or Cikarang Bekasi Laut, which is it's outside from Muara Gembong, and followed by Jakarta, and the last one is Citarum. So it's surprising us that Citarum, as we know it's most polluted river in West Java in Indonesia, but it does not contribute as problematic debris as much as CBL and Jakarta by the local perspective. So for your information, the CBL is below the Muara Gembong sub-districts, so it's outside from Muara Gembong area, but it contributes more than Citarum. Next. And how do waste reach the Muara Gembong area? The first rank answer is because they are carried by the sea current from CBL into Muara Gembong area with the 84 answers, followed by tides and Jakarta West, and etc. Next. When does plastic waste come? So the first rank is WMS or rainy season in Muara Gembong area with the answer of respondent 93 answer, and followed by middle of the month with high tides and rock flood and every day. Every day in this means the river flow bringing the plastic every day. Next. And which estuary that has the most polluted estuary in Muara Gembong? So the first rank is Muara CBL with 93 answer, followed by Muara Kuntul, Muara Jaya, etc. Next. And what kind of plastic waste cause problems in Muara Gembong? So the most problematic plastic waste is, the first rank is plastic bags, with the 80 answer for this research, and followed by diapers, styrofoam, F&B packagings, and etc. Next. And the conclusion for this research, marine debris transport in Muara Gembong caused by oceanographic factors, current, wind, and tidal and dominate in WMS until early of TSN, which is December until March. And most local residents in Muara Gembong agree December until March has major effect on marine debris transport from outside Muara Gembong area, Citarum, CBL River, and Jakarta Bay. Mostly answer CBL River. And the most distributed problematic plastic waste are plastic bags, diapers, and styrofoam. And the oceanographic and perspective factors of the community have relation. This means the local perspective and the oceanographic factors has the exact answer or has the same result, which says December until March is the exact months that bringing marine debris from outside of Muara Gembong into Muara Gembong. So that has the similar answer. Next. So this is the end of my presentation. Thank you for understanding and attention my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Alvina. Thank you very much. Very interesting. Now we will have Dr. Kansa Iklila Hanifa from Sekolah Alam Perkasa with the title Social, Cultural, Economic, and Mangrove Resources of Kampung Lapeng, Pulau Bruh, Aceh Besar. Please proceed.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Soha and my teammate is Kansa. We are representative of Sekolah Perkasa Alam, who will present you about a particular village regathering with social, cultural, economic aspect and mangrove in Lapeng village, Aceh Besar. The purpose of this presentation is to inform you about the research that we undertook on March and April. Allow me to introduce you our members that participate in this research. Kansa, Aga, Najmi, and Tori. First of all, the background of having is our research. Next to the next page, please. Yeah. Okay, first of all, the background of having Lapeng as our research area is because it is a remote area of which not many of us are aware of its existence. And more importantly, the village provides abundant natural resources, which is particularly mangroves. Besides, as mentioned earlier, we also undertake research focusing on the social, economic, and cultural aspect of the village, which is expectedly would become a better learning source for those who read the journal. Next. As this research is aimed at providing information, we are encouraged to execute the research very thoroughly. For that reason, we have selected the research method in data collection that is descriptive qualitative regarding the scope. Only one plot with the size of 50 times 50 meters is decided. Next. After a 4D data analysis, the results show many important things. In terms of social aspect, the people is very friendly since they welcome the guests very well. They speak very politely so that the guests were feeling homey, which resulted very close interaction. In relation with livelihood, most of the people earn a living from being a farmer, fisherman, and sailor. Due to the long distance existed between the village and the city, people usually market their farm production to only local people in the village. And interestingly, one of their cultural aspect is the ban of doing activities from Thursday noon up to Friday noon. They assume Friday praying is very crucial so that they have to take a rest. Talking about mangrove in Lapeng, they have not many mangrove trees left due to tsunami wave occurred in 2004. The wave has swept the mangroves area, which resulted in only small number of mangrove trees are left. Next. Finally, we have come to an end. We do really hope that our presentation would provide many advantages for all of us. Thank you for your attention. Good afternoon.
Okay, that's all.
Yeah.
Okay, so very short presentation. Thank you to both of you. Okay, and now we can, I think we have to wait a little bit more. Yeah, and 3 more minutes. The next one we will have our next presenter very soon. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Dr. Nur Rahim, are you here already?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, okay, okay. You can share your screen first. Okay, I think you can start now. Okay, we have now Dr. Nur Rahim from Study Program of Aquatic Resources, Resource Management, Graduate School, IPB University, Bogor, Indonesia. And the title is Aquatic Environmental Characteristic of Singkil Swarm Wildlife Reserve in Aceh Singkil Regency as basis of freshwater fisheries. Okay, the floor is yours.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The slide will slide by me or by committee about this slide. The slide will share. Okay. For the time, Dr. Zarina. Okay, maybe firstly, honorable to all presenter who has joined this room Zoom. Let me introduce myself. My name is Nur Rahim. I'm master student at IPB University. My program study is Aquatic Resource Management. So today or now, I would like to present to you about my research or my presentation, whose title is Aquatic Environmental Characteristic of Singkil Swarm Wildlife Reserve in Aceh Singkil Regency. The author consists of me, Nur Rahim, and the second author is Professor Dr. Isu Sulistono, MSc, and the last author is Dr. Isnur Ferdinand Julianda, MSc. Okay, next. Okay, about introduction. Indonesia has 40.9 million hectare of peatland with 7.2 million hectare of the peatland area on the Sumatra Island. And Singkil Swarm Wildlife Reserve is a peat forest located in Aceh Singkil Regency, Sumatra Island, with around 81.800 to 2012 hectare of area. Okay, next. Okay. As a component of wetland, Singkil Swarm Wildlife Reserve has unique characteristic, fragile, and essential function in forest and fishery products. Next. In addition to being a conservation area, the local community uses the Singkil Swarm Wildlife Reserve for fishing and tourism activities. But with a distinct ecosystem character, important function, and utilization by the local community, but until now, research related to water quality characteristic in Singkil Swarm Wildlife Reserve has never been done. And next. So, physical chemical characteristic information of Singkil Swarm Wildlife Reserve water is needed as the basis for sustainable fishery utilization. Okay, next. Okay, so based on the introduction or the background of the research, the purpose or the aims of this research consists of the first, to determine the physical chemical characteristic of the water of Singkil Swarm Wildlife Reserve, and the second aims is to recommend the utilization of Singkil Swarm Wildlife Reserve in fisheries. Next. Okay, about material and methods. Maybe next. Next slide. Okay, the location of this research was in Singkil Swarm Wildlife Reserve in Laitrop River, Aceh Singkil Regency, Aceh Province. Data collection was carried at 7 at F5 station, determinants of station based on pervasive sampling method, namely the determination of station points based on the flow of ship traffic and the location of fishermen to catch fish. Maybe you can see at the figure 1 or the map of survey location. And the time of result was on April until June, or 3 months, based on rainfall data from BPS Aceh Singkil or Badan Pusat Statistik Aceh Singkil for 5 years. April until June is the transition period between the rainy season to dry season, where April is the peak of the highest rainy season and continues to decline until June. You can see at figure 2. Okay, next. The matter of result about the tools. The tools consist of water physics chemical parameter, will be shown in table 1, and sample bottle, label paper, pull box, stationary, digital camera. And the material consists of swim water sample and preservative solution. This is H2SO4 or sulfuric acid. Next. Okay, here are the tools of parameter, physical chemical parameter. Maybe you can see, and just next to effective time. Okay, at least there are 3 steps in this research. The first is in situ parameter sampling. The second is ex situ parameter sampling, and the third is laboratorium analysis sampling. In situ parameter sampling, there are some parameters consist of temperature, salinity, DO, pH, current, clarity, depth, smell, color, conductivity, and TDS. And ex situ parameter sampling consists of TSS, and then the analysis laboratorium will, or I think have done in the Balai Teknik Kesehatan Lingkungan dan Pengendalian Penyakit or BTKLPP in Medan City. Next. Okay, the data analysis consists of 3 data analysis. The first is principal component analysis or PCA using PAS 4.03 software, a correlate analysis using Microsoft Excel 2013, and then descriptive analysis based on the PPRI number 22 2021. Next. This is the result. The result for 3 months. The following is average measurement result of water physics chemical parameter in April until June. Based on the data, temperature, pH, reservoir oxygen, TDS, and phosphate, the station 1 is the highest from the other station. The single swamp reserve has an average pH value of 4.1 until 5.7. This value indicates that this water are acidic. The acidic nature of the water is a distinctive characteristic of Finland water. Similar results were found in other peatland water in Indonesia, such as the pH of the Bangkau swamp waters, 5.51 until 6.57, Tungkal Lilil water, 2.35 until 3.67, and the water of the Bukit Batu Biosphere Reserve, based on parameter value of DO, TDS, TSS, phosphate, and nitrate at its station, this value indicate that the water quality in the single swamp with the reserve is in the 3rd class based on the PPRI number 22 of 2021. The 3rd class is water used for freshwater fish aquaculture, animal husbandry, water for irrigating plants, and other uses that require the same water quality as that user. Next. Yeah, the following are data diagram of the measurement result of each station in April, May, and June. Station 1 gets the highest value in some parameter because station 1 is the closest location to residential community of Teluk Rumbia village. For example, in phosphate, reference to Yulistia 2020, phosphorus is widely used as fertilizer, soap or detergent, ceramic industry material, lubricating oil, food and beverage product, and catalyst that if it accumulates into waste by bathing, washing, and depositing of domestic waste from residential area, it can cause high phosphate value. Next. Okay. Next. Next. This is the diagram, still diagram. Okay. Next, figure 4. Okay. This is the figure 4, PCAB plot ordinance between water physical parameter by station. Figure 4 shows that the main correlated component at station 1 are total phosphate and temperature. At station 2, the main component consists of TDS, pH, nitrate, conductivity, and DOH. At station 3, TSS is the only main component. Well, at station 4 and 5, the main correlated component are current and water clarity. Next. Okay. By this table, we can show that pH is positively correlated with DO with R 0.99, TDS R 0.9, conductivity R 0.9, and nitrate with air value is 0.9. The low pH value in the water of the single well reserve is in line with the low DO value. This indicated by the correlation value is 0.99 and direction of the PCAB plot in the same direction. The sulfur oxygen content will decrease at low pH condition. This is by Manunggal et al. 2080. The pH value decreased because the carbon dioxide concentration increased due to microbial activity and decomposition organic matter, causing the reservoir oxygen content to increase. Maybe next. I think I will addition about the discussion. Phosphorus water aquaculture, one of the strategies that need to be carried to develop the potential of the single swamp reserve in the fishery sector is low pH management strategy. Aquaculture activity in pet water can be carried throughout effort to increase pH and select local fish species that can adapt to the pet water environment. Such example, reference to Sabrina et al. 2018, apu-apu or Pistia stratiotes and lemna minor plants can be used as environmental friendly technologies to increase water pH content. For local fish that generally dominate pet water are fish species
Mr. Rahim, you have less than 1 minute, yeah?
Okay, maybe next to conclusion. Okay. Okay, for conclusion, the physical chemical character of the single swap reserve are temperature around 25.0 until 30 derajat Celsius, depth 0.8 until 5 meter, clarity 13 until 145 centimeter, current 0.06 until 3.9 until 6.5 DO, and last. pH is an indicator that distinguishes the water of the single swap reserve from freshwater in general. The single swap reserve water can use for freshwater fish aquaculture activities through pH management and selection of local fish species. Next. Okay, I think this is the acknowledgement. This research is my part of my thesis, was funded by the Aceh Province Human Resource Development Agency or BPSDM with number BPSDM 420.5.168 to 2021. Next. Yeah, this is just some documentation of this research. Next. Next. And next. Okay, thank you for attention and the time. I give back to moderator and I say Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you to Mr. Nur Rahim. Now we will move to Dr. Mardiani Putri Naulia Batubara from Marine Science Department, Faculty of Fishery and Marine Science, Diponegoro University. The title, The Appearance and Relationship Between Madden-Julian Oscillation and Sea Surface Temperature in Tropics Area in 2010 to 2020. Please proceed.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Zarina. Can the committee share my presentation? Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, let's thank God Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for the blessing bestowed to us to enable us to have this kind of meeting. Before going to my speech or my explanation, let me introduce myself. My name is Mahardiani Putri Naulia Batubara. I'm from University of Diponegoro, and I'm also an analyst in Agency of Meteorological, Climatological, and Geophysics in BMKG, especially in Marine Meteorology Center. Okay, on this limited time, I would like to have an explanation about the appearance and relationship between Methane-Julian oscillation or MJO and SST or sea surface temperature in tropical areas in 2010 until 2020. Okay, next. These are the outlines today. Next. And then the first one is introduction. Okay, next. Indonesia is located in the equator and included in the tropical areas. So Indonesians get surplus of energy from the sun, which makes the atmospheric conditions in Indonesia become very complex and dynamic. Geographically, Indonesia is located between two big oceans and also two big continents, namely the Indian Ocean, and Pacific Ocean, as well as the Asia continent and the Australia continent. Please click again the button, please. This condition triggers the interaction of air masses between continents and the oceans of a large scale called monsoon. Weather formation in Indonesia showed variability on the synoptic to intraseasonal timescale affected by several weather phenomena, such as monsoon, dipole mode, La Nina, El Nino, Methane-Julian oscillation, tropical cyclones, and also cold surge. Every weather phenomena has a very strong interactions with each other. But not all weather phenomena going on will be discussed in the study. The study will examine the emergence of MJO as a marine atmospheric phenomena that is considered very influential and have a very significant impact on weather and climate variability that occurs in Indonesia. Okay, next. Next, please. Yes, next. Okay, next. Okay, the research of Muhammad et al. In 2020 stated that MJO triggered a significant increase in the frequency of precipitation and rainfall in Indonesia. Okay, next, please click the button. Okay, next. Next. Yeah, next again. The results show that when MJO is active in phase 3, it can increase the extreme phenomena in Sumatra around 80%. And then when active in phase 3 and 4, precipitation extreme can be increased until 16% in Kalimantan. And then when MJO is active in phase 3, the extreme precipitation increased in Java until 80%. And then the last, when MJO is active in phase 4, increases the extreme phenomena in Sulawesi and Papua around 60%. And then next, please. MJO-related research was initially known by Roland Madden and Paul Julian in 1971 in the Indian Ocean. MJO is an intraseasonal wave or oscillation occurring in the troposphere layer of the tropical area, which occurs as a result of a large-scale cell circulation in an equator that moves from west to the east, from the Indian Ocean until the Pacific Ocean, with the propagation area 15 north and south. Madden and Julian in Suharsono divided the active phase of MJO into the 8 from the phase 1 until the 8th phase. This study also only examines the effect of MJO when in Indonesia, that is when in phases 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then next. One of the parameters that strongly affect MJO activity is SST or sea surface temperature. Because what? Because in general, marine response to MGO can be identified through its response to mixing layers and waves. On the other hand, SST can influence MGO in various ways, especially in determining MGO geographic preferences by maintaining the stability of moisture on the lower layer, which is a very crucial factor in the speed of propagation and the period of MGO occurrence. In addition, SST also participated in convergence activities in Indonesia as an archipelago, which has a larger sea area than its land. Considering the major impact of MGO and also the contribution of SST to the climate change in Indonesia, in particular, the intensity of rainfall, this research will carry out the studies related to the emergence of MGO in Indonesia in 2010 until 2020, and its relation to the variation of SST in Indonesia waters that can be used as a basic study to improve weather forecast accuracy in Indonesia ahead. And then next. Research time and location. The location will be from the Indian Ocean until the Pacific, from the 3, 4, 5, and 6 phase. And then the time, please click the button again. And the research time will be from January to 2010 until December 2020. And then next. Okay, this is the data and the methods. The data, the first one is the index of real multivariate phase of MGO, RMM1 and 2. This is the daily value, and then the sea surface temperature from the satellite using the interpolation optimum from OESST, and then the sea surface temperature, the observation from the Argo plots, drifters, and also ships. And then to determine the relationship between MGO and SST in tropical areas, we use the quantitative and also the qualitative. The quantitative methods will be we'll use the Pearson coefficient correlation and correlation of determination. And then the qualitative will be used the sea surface temperature spatial map and also the phase diagram of MGO. And the next. The identification of Madden-Julian oscillation or MGO can be adapted from the Harris-Higgins in 2008 and also the Baker from 2011. MGO index must have a magnitude greater than 1 for consecutive pentats. One pentat consists of 5 days, and then the phases must be in numerical order. And then the last is MGO must meet the first 2 criteria for more than 5 pentats and not remain stationary in one phase for more than 4 pentats. And then next. This is the pattern that we'll use in the validation and correlation between MGO and SST. Next. Results and discussion.
Dr. Mardiani, you have like 1 more minute here.
Okay. No, next. Please, the previous slide, please. Yes. From the graphics, we show that the highest frequency of MGO occurred in 2018 with 162 cases, in 2015 with 146 cases, and then 2012 with 122 cases. Next, please. This is the phase diagram of MGO. And the next, please. This is also in 2015. This is in 2012. Next, please. Next. Next, please. The validation show that the largest RMSE occurred when MGO is active in phase 5, and then the minimum is when MGO is active in phase 3. And then this is the estimate SST anomalous condition in January 2018. Next, please. Next, please. Yeah, next. This is the anomalous condition. Next, please. Next, please. Next, please. This is the anomalous condition 2015. Next, please. This is the anomalous condition in 2012. Next, please. This is the coefficient, the correlation. We see the highest score is minus 0.9, and then the lowest is the minus 0.02. And then next, please. This is the conclusion of my research. The first one is the highest frequency of active MGO in tropical areas occurred in 2018, 15, and 12, as the anomalous conditions at the time of MGO active in the 3 years is indicated that SSC anomalies tended to be more positive, except when active in 2012. SSC condition will be more negative or colder. And then the highest correlation between MGO and SSC occurred when MGO was active in phase 6 in 2017. Meanwhile, the lowest correlation occurred when MGO active in phase 3 in 2020. This study is still a preliminary study, so a more depth study is needed using much numerous and more complex atmospheric and oceanographic parameters. Thank you very much for the attention, and I hope this explanation will be useful for all of us. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi, and thank you to the presenter. And our last presentation will come from Dr. Asep Zahidin from Fisheries Department, Fisheries and Marine Science Faculty, University Pajajaran. The title would be Assessment of Water Quality Based on Biological Indices of Microdermis, a river under pressure from tourism activities. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Maybe you can share my presentation. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, moderator, Dr. Zalina, for the time and screen to me. In this moment, I'm going to explain a brief my research at the title Assessment of the Water Quality based on the biological index of the Microdermis. A river under pressure from the tourism activities. My name is Asep Zahidin. I am from Fisheries Department, Fisheries and Marine Science Faculty, Universitas Pajajaran. Okay, the next. I will start with the introduction in my research. We know the Microdermis is an important organism group in the aquatic ecosystem. Why? They have a role to the care of the food web in aquatic ecosystem, and also nutrient cycle, water pollution metabolism, and also they are a source for secondary production for another biota. In addition, Microdermis can be become as the water assessment. So they can call a bioindicator for the water pollution in the water bodies. Now, why I use Microdermis as bioindicator for the assessment water quality in the water bodies? Because they living permanently in the bottom water, they easily investigation, and also they specifically and closely related in the habitat, and we can prediction a long time about pollution status in the water bodies. Okay, the next. This on a theory, so I did research about water quality assessment in one river. My got influence from the environmental pressure, especially from the tourism activities. This is a map of Pangandaran district, have one river. This the river name is Cijulang River. They have Green Canyon tourism for the activities. The one sample, the one side sample is the Pangandaran district, is the Green Canyon area. The second location, this is a transportation boat shelter. We can see many boats to decade in this area. And the third location is the mangrove conservation tourism. And the last location is the Cijulang estuary. This is a lot of variety in the mangrove areas. The next. The samples were collected in the Cijulang River that were explained in last slide. We collect samples on the rainy season and the dry season 2018. In January to March in a rainy season, and August and October is the dry season. After we collect sample, we analyze the biological index following formula for the diversity index Shannon winner, Simpson dominant index, species deficit, and also we can mention about family biotic index. After then, we are combine biological answer in the pollution criteria, and the last section we make criteria score for pollution status. This is the table. Why? How we determine water pollution status, especially for organic pollution. Okay, the next, please, Fred. In this study, we found 1,873 specimens divided to 27 species and 4 classes. Gastropoda is dominant in this study, following the pulp, crustaceae, and the Polychaeta. If we compare the abundance in the rainy season and the dry season, and the increased abundance in the Nusa Wiru location, mangrove in the mangrove conservation tourism. This interesting result, we found tolerant group Microdermis in the Nusa Wiru, Muara, and Muara Cijulang, while intolerant group Microdermis we found in the Green Canyon areas. This is the graph abundance in the rainy season increase the taxa and the lowest the abundance. And also the rainy season, the low taxas and then the increase abundance. Okay, the next. Okay, this is a graph explaining water pollution indicator under biological index analysis. Maybe this is in different season, in the dry and rainy season. And also we mention biological oxygen demand or BOD and C organic to strengthen the result of biological index analysis. You can see about this graph. We compare between dry and rainy season. Okay, next slide, please. Finally, we have got biological index data. We would get water pollution status under scoring analysis. The water pollution status in the dry season lower than rainy season. Whether the location enter to unpolluted, slight pollutant, moderate pollutant, or highly pollutant, or we have get to heavy pollutant. But in this graph, this is a resume from the 5 biological index and also a chemical parameter mentioned. Last slide, please. The last slide, I will say to conclusion about my research. The birds in the Green Canyon, they have a slight pollution status. While the bird shelter location, moderate status, and also both of Nusa Wiru and Tijulang location, they have a highly pollutant status. The water pollution status is in the right and the lower section in the status. And also in the Nusa Wiru and the Tijulang estuarian, this is interesting fauna aster. This is a organism, the extreme species that can survive in the organic pollutant and wider range salinity. This is very dominant in the Nusa Wiru location and also in the Tijulang estuary. Maybe this is my research. I explain about brief my research. Thank you very much, Dr. Zalina. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Dr. Asem and all presenters. I'm having a good time, listening to all your presentations, and I think I know more about marine studies now, which is very interesting and very, very important to all of us, because we need to keep our to save our environment and our seas, rivers, and everything. Okay, I think that's all for today. After we have heard from 7 presenters, and we don't really have time for question and answer, unfortunately. Yeah. Okay, so I think that's it from me. Is it okay? The organizer, is it okay to end the session now? Yeah. Okay, with that, assalamualaikum to all, and all the best to all of you. Thank you. So, Pak Nanda Muhammad Razi, so we'll meet again at 5:30, yeah? Is it correct?
Gimana, Bu?
Looking at the schedule, it says that we will start keynote speakers at 4:30, yeah? 4:30 Indonesian time.
Oh, yes.
Sorry
Yes,
about
Miss.
that. Malaysia is like...
Maybe last foto bersama, Miss.
Foto bersama. Oh, sekarang ya?
Oh, yes.
Ya, boleh.
Please show...
Yeah, please turn on all your videos. Camera.
Okay. Okay. Done. 1, 2, 3. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you, Miss.
Okay, thank you very much.
Darina.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thanks, Miss.
Thank you, Dr. Darina.
Yeah, thanks to all. Nice to meet you all.